Welcome, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand, session 48. Where we had left off, pretty immediately, was Shriek and Aaron were making their way out to a cute little church in the midst of the Arlington city limits, surrounded by trees and a bit of land that housed a nun who goes by Sister Charity. And in the vicinity, her coterie mates, Terry Perkins and Celia Hart. Shriek has taken it upon himself to introduce Aaron to the prospective new primogen. The person who cares more about this particular domain than perhaps even their current primogen. Aaron, eager to meet the sister, as well as her coterie mate Terry, as per Gerard's recommendation, has tagged along, while Alex is fending for herself elsewhere in the city. Shriek and Aaron have just finished up a conversation where the both of them were maybe contemplating the next steps in what's going to go on in this city. What the potential outcomes might be. What their plans are going forward. Having parked in front of the church now, with Aaron's truck, the both of you now see this little church in front of you. So, what do you do, gentlemen?
Well, I think it's just fantastic to end up just stepping on out and getting this over with. Mr. Winters is a rambunctious youth at this point. Who knows, maybe he'll have a better understanding of how to end up dealing with this, as he's about to end up dealing in a house of God. For whatever that's worth, is to the undead still probably matters to him, given his proclivities. It's funny, really, because, well, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact I was already dead, I'd be sweating like a whore in church. Oh, wait!
Well, pull on up with the truck. Get out, pocket, make sure everything's all locked up. Before I enter a house of God, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out any sort of weaponry, tools, all that. Not like it matters much. Leave it in that side of the truck and keep everything nice and tight in that duffel bag in the back seat. In truth, I haven't really thought too much about it. It's more so on a whim to just try and get to know the folks around the area. Everyone else seems to be high up on trying to make everything and work in some sort of orderly manner, make the gears turn. I guess in that respect, I'm just doing my hand in it. Maybe it's just because maybe it's because I'm just trying to see what actually does work around here, if there is anything that works. Because if that's the case, well, it might be worth saving. Might be worth protecting. In any case. I'm gonna go on my way. Make my way towards the building, giving a nod to Shriek, let him know I'm about as prepared as I can be. Before I enter the church, I make sure to. Oh, wait, I don't have a hat. Shit.
Nope, you gave that to Mr. Dorian Resner, clearing his face.
That I did. That I did. And, well, that is what it is. So, go ahead and knock on the big old chapel doors there.
They kind of creak open.
I step on in.
It's a dimly
I stop
lit.
at the doorway. Yep. What is? Great. With what?
Only a few candles.
Oh, great. My bane. Electricity takes a little, like, probably about 30 minutes for things to go out. Candles go out immediately.
And with a pff. Oh. You hear a woman's voice says, "You saw the silhouette of a woman in a habit, but now it's even darker in here, with the candles now snuffed." That was
Not peeking
unexpected.
down.
Good evening. Well,
Sure.
that's going to happen a lot. Sister Charity,
To
allow me
what?
to introduce you to my co-member, Mr. Aaron Winters of Clan Lysandra. Aaron, this is Sister Charity of Clan Zimise.
Evening, ma'am.
I've heard of you. Small reputation. Shriek has mentioned you several times, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure's mine, ma'am.
Although I was not expecting the lights to go out, let me just turn on the overhead. And she goes over towards the light switch and flips it on, and it's fluorescent lights, and so it buzzes to a flicker, but eventually does light fully. How can I help you?
Decided I'd, figured I'd go ahead and drop by and get to know you and your kind, folk here. In all transparency, I guess I'm looking to get to know folks around the area. Haven't had much to explore Arlington. A bit more on the busy side.
You have been here for some time, Mr. Winters. It's surprising that you'd get around to it now, of all times.
Yeah, well. I tend to just go where people point me most of the time.
Treat yourself like the hammer that is meant to do the hammering, and not the hand at which wields it.
That's how you want to put it.
Well, when you say things like, I go where people point me, it's my first assumption. Because there are a number of different kindred in this city that go where people point them. Very rarely do you find kindred who actually do the pointing. She looks over at Shriek knowingly.
No. I'm so glad to end up maintaining a reputation. Mr. Winters here is wanting to end up discussing the idea of, if I recall from our conversation, well, not to put too fine a point on it, the man's at a crisis of faith, being on this side of the grave and all. Figured you might be an authority on the subject, all things considered. And of course, he's following the Camarilla tradition of seeking the wisdom of his elders. And while you may not be a prince, you certainly are his elder and definitely overqualified for the discussion. Do you really expect a whore of Babylon to end up explaining it to him?
I would hardly describe you as a whore. But, Mr. Winters, perhaps I can put some of your questions at ease in regards to your faith. Come.
I'm hoping so too, ma'am.
She gestures over to the pew at the front of the church, empty, as there don't seem to be a lot of people here tonight, as it is rather late. And so she sits you down, and in front of you is a rather plain wall that does have the crucifix of Christ kind of hanging up from on the wall, with the pulpit kind of in front of it, but otherwise the sort of dais of the church is rather empty, save for the pulpit and a piano. But it looks like this is a relatively small church. It's not grandiose by any means. And she sits down next to you as you all sit on the pew at the front of the aisle. So, what questions do you have, my brother?
Well, I guess it's only recently been kind of a question that's come up in my mind. It's a concept that's been nagging at me a bit. Recently, I lost someone.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
It's appreciated. I wish I could be sorry about it. I guess that's kind of where my problem lies.
Do you not?
I'm more upset at all the events leading up to it. I'm more upset about all the things that happened after it.
The guilt of the situation.
It ain't guilt. That's the thing that is bugging me. It's just anger, pettiness.
lashing
I guess
out.
I'm. Yeah. But not a wing of grief in me. And I'm trying to figure out, well, quite frankly, what aspects of this could be more precisely, what of these emotions are mine?
All of them.
Things that
The
okay,
anger you
good.
feel. The anger you feel is very much your anger. The pettiness you feel is very much your pettiness. What grief, guilt, sadness, joy you may feel at any time is all yours. The beast, as Money would call it, is the most intense of these. Anger, wrath, even pettiness, the joy of killing. That which the Word of God would deem sinful. The beast comes out in us, the instinct. We are unholy creatures, and thus have intense unholiness about us. What worries me is the way that you have described such things. You feel no grief at the person you lost passing. You acknowledge that that is the case and find that in and of itself troubling. It does mean that there is hope. Hope that one day, maybe a day far from now, you may shed a tear. But in your mind, your instinct right now is that you must move forward. Your instinct is to lash out at those who had caused your pain. Perhaps even anger at yourself. Perhaps this is, as you said, could have been prevented. The Lord forgives. But I don't think you've forgiven yourself yet. Whatever you feel guilty for.
No. I suppose it's because not wholly convinced that anything that I have in me is anything other than that unholy, sinful creature.
We were all once human. And we cling to that as members of the Camarilla, cling to that which makes us human, reminds us to be human. Because without humanity beside us, with us, to love us, despite of it all, we fall away to those instincts. Commit the atrocities that would lead our souls to damnation. I do not believe that we are wholly sin-free. But we are not wholly damned either. There is still good in your soul, Aaron Winters. It's whether you have the courage to see it.
Maybe you might know the answer to this. Maybe you might not.
I will certainly do my best. She gives you kind of a small smile.
Does God still want kindred to find salvation? Is it possible for us? Or are we just... Is damnation eternal? I guess is the question.
Did you grow up in a household of faith?
Yes, I did, ma'am. My Pa was actually very religious. He believed wholly in the Word of God. Made sure I knew all of the Lord's prayers. Could recite it by my own head if I wanted to right now.
What does the scripture say about the soul? If I might quiz you.
Me, IRL, I don't know.
That Aaron would, if he grew up in a, not necessarily a Catholic, but a Protestant Christian sort of household, then
Protestant Christian, yeah.
it would be, he would recite a passage from one of the letters of Paul, that it is by faith alone, in Christ alone, and not by works, lest any man should boast. I know that by heart.
I was raised in Utah. I gotta get a free get out of jail card here with this, okay?
And so Aaron would.
How do you think I
recite
feel? I'm the atheist. I'm the one who ends up used to argue about this shit in my early 20s, and my brain is now jumping to the answers I would have gotten.
that.
I know how to play it.
Character of faith when I have none.
So Psalm 23, 1-6. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemy. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. I feel like it suits this situation.
Also a very good one.
All right, well, I'll just go with storyteller's discretion here.
Aaron would know this and would likely recite this. And Sister Charity would nod and say, then if you believe that you still have a soul, then perhaps until such soul is no longer present in this world, no one can not really know where that would go until it does. I like to believe that salvation is there for all who believe in Christ. It is what keeps me human. If you feel that this would be a way for you to maintain your humanness in this life, then I say pursue it with your whole heart.
I suppose apart why I keep going out for guidance. So, I've seen all kinds of atrocities at this point, both when I was living and now that I'm some dead kind of thing.
I'm sure we all have.
I've been afraid to take the direction, I suppose the responsibility, of knowing that perhaps it ain't, some things just happen to be my decision. It ain't all the beast. It also means I have to come to terms with the fact that every other bloodsucker out there might have a little bit of heart too. Maybe I'm a little afraid of that.
And why would you be afraid of that?
Because on that account, I'd have to start thinking of everyone out there. Kindred. As people.
And that goes against everything that you've been taught. All of your existence, I imagine.
Exactly how much out there is going about me? Does everyone know?
I know nothing about your past. It is simply what I am guessing. Based on your expressions and what you have said to me so far.
Pardon, I didn't mean to curse in the house of the Lord. That's a good guess, Sister Charity.
I'm good at guessing. You struggle with this a lot. This weighs heavily on your mind. Because if vampires aren't the monsters that you have come to know, that creep under the bed, that are hidden in the closet, that prey upon the humans, like ravenous beasts, like you have been led to believe all of your existence, then what good were the fairy tales? Were they all wrong?
Nah, ain't just about fairy tales. It's knowing that It's knowing that it wasn't just a monster that made that decision, it was a person.
Calls into question a lot of things, doesn't it? It's one of the reasons I think that upholding the traditions of the Camarilla are so important. It reminds us to be human, even though we may not be. Thou shalt not kill another of the blood. Could be inspired by a commandment, or commandments inspired by it.
Oh yeah, wouldn't be the first time I heard anything about what we do in here ain't nothing short of biblical.
Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not covet. 10 Commandments are a pretty strict list. One I think that many kindred would find very useful in living by. But I am not in the business of converting those to my religion. I am simply a guidepost to those who would seek guidance.
Do I know how to pick them, or do I know how to pick them?
You helped me an awful lot this evening, Sister Charity, so, look, you and your Folker, what you got going on here is something sweet.
It's mostly my operation. My co-roommates tend to find their entertainment elsewhere.
You got something sweet. So, that said, if you ever need anyone to,
Sweep the floor?
sweep the floor, keep the lights out, keep any, bruises off your back.
The lights flicker a bit.
I'm running out of time. Just go ahead and, let me know. Send a dove out my way. It's that old abandoned church.
You'd be
Just down
surprised how effective carrier pigeons can be.
See, I was
Oh,
just
sorry.
suggesting it for the sake of the turn of phrase, but if it's something you can do,
I can do a great many things.
I believe that. I believe that.
Including making you into a lawn ornament.
I heard that, Shrink.
Just saying.
Don't be rude in the sister's house of worship now. You just pat Shriek.
Well, sorry. I have. But to practice forgiveness is divine, after all.
Indeed.
That being said, I am hoping that this little excursion, Aaron, has ended up helping you a fair amount. And I'm hoping at the very least it means that I'm not going to have to end up worrying about any further altercations for the near future. I have enough of a headache as it is.
Yeah, speaking of which, probably ought to go make a quick patrol of the area. The area, not here, but I guess I got work to do tonight. So, Sister Charity, thank you so much for your time.
Of course. Anytime you need guidance.
Anytime you need a hand.
I'll know who to call. And she stands from the pew.
I will also take a stand and once again politely dip my head. I look over to Shriek and
Okay, I dip my head.
She kind of dips a little lower than you both.
I was gonna ask, do you have anything you needed to talk about? You want me out of the way for a sec?
If that were the case, I wouldn't have invited you along. I am at my coteries beck and call, and try to end up doing what I can to end up assisting the realm. After all, it's a proper duty for an upstanding Nosferatu such as myself as to end up being a guidelight, as the sister ended up saying, being of similar persuasion as our dear prince. I mean, really. Besides, I don't need you broken. And given the way things may have been going down with you and what have you, well, honey, I understand all there is to know about being mismatched. Sometimes you need to fly with your own flock. I don't have that going for me. You do. Take advantage of it while you can.
Alright. Appreciate it. Yeah.
You want to end up saying appreciate it. Keep her on this side of the earth and we'll be fine.
There he is again, keeping everyone upriver. Alright.
Upriver. Don't think I've ever heard that term.
It's a new one to me as well.
I meant upstream, but I'm kind of a dumbass.
To be
all
fair,
good.
even if we were to use that, I'm pretty sure Shriek wouldn't know it. I know it, Shriek might not. Shriek does not strike me as the type that ends up spending a lot of time out in
Any
out
outdoorsy
in the woods.
colloquialisms?
Aaron's just over here like, country boy!
I love Country Boy. I argue like Aaron's one of like the top 3 most complicated characters you've ever made, if only on the fact that you've put in all these beautiful pieces that line up against themselves, right? They causing a lot of internal conflict. So, if anything, I found this entire scene fucking delicious.
Oh,
That's why I
thank
haven't
you.
been talking most of the time because I'm just more fascinated on the journey.
Thank you. Yeah. Aaron's gonna just nod at that. He's gonna go ahead and take his leave and holding the door open for Shriek.
Feel like I should curtsy.
You're not wearing a
Eh.
skirt, darling, to be able to curtsy.
Well, if you wanted me in that, I can always borrow the habit. I think I'd look cute.
I think you would do it a disservice, maybe?
Don't knock it until I walk it.
Maybe once you've sworn your oath of celibacy.
Oh, well, I'm out. Gonna leave before I catch fire or some shit.
Have a pleasant evening, both of you.
Take care, sister. Turn into the truck. Aaron is just gonna sit in it for a moment. And he's just gonna ponder, staring out at the church, watching his probably sister Charity sets up all of the lights so that it's all candles again.
Mm.
Getting in
when
the truck. Oh, go ahead.
Well, when Shriek gets in the truck, he is probably gonna look at him.
God, I feel fucking claustrophobic in there.
Hey, thank you.
Don't thank me. I'll start thinking you might actually like me, and then I'm just going to end up expressing that as a bunch of mixed signals.
Come on now, don't pull any of that gay shit with me. I mean it. Being sincere here. Let me have the moment.
If I did that, I wouldn't be the person you disrespect. Besides, like I said, you're not the only one who's ever done it. Not too long ago, I was in here. First time I actually came in here, believe it or not, I almost got my head taken off by the scourge. That was fun.
Yeah, I remember that. Add my gun to the back of Lieutenant Briss's
No,
head.
my first time.
Oh.
Not the first time I've run interference for.
God damn it.
Look, I don't have to like the place to recognize what it's doing. I know that you don't like the whole backroom dealing and all that kind of stuff. Fun as it might be behind closed doors, and you know, leaving it drenched in bodily fluids. That's besides the point. The whole point is that we end up keeping this all operating. Truth is that there are people who can do stuff out in the open. There are people who have to do backroom deals. There are those who can end up dealing with the people on the ground. There are those who can end up dealing with above. I have to end up dealing with all of them. And sometimes that means I need to end up taking a shot in the mouth for the team. And fact of the matter is that it means I get to be the lone operator. You don't operate well alone. You've shown that over and over again. But you also need somebody who at least has, if not your same ideas, at least somebody who you think understands you. Because regardless of if anybody else understands you, you need to believe that they know. Goes back to that conversation we had earlier. Nature of belief. You need to believe that somebody out there at least understands where you might be coming from. That's her.
Well, at
You're
the very
welcome.
least, I think that'd be you too. Seem to have a pin on me.
Well, you've been trying to kill me for years, so yeah, I'd probably say so.
To be fair, I didn't spend the majority of that in Texas.
No, but it was someone like you. Same difference.
Yeah.
I get it. Righteous indignation is an addictive drug. It really is. I've seen it happen over and over again. It's got its uses, really. But Why not? But for me, one-man operation, always have been. Prince puts you in a coterie, you figure out how to make it work. Figured out how to deal with the blue blood, figured out how to deal with the rabble, figured out how to end up dealing with the warlock, and now I get to end up dealing with a SI, the fuck mothering a vampire who stays in a goddamn church and praying the night away, and beyond that, a bunch of thin blood struggling to find something to eat, meanwhile trying to end up making, not raising suspicions, while having a primogen who, all likelihood, really, really wants me dead. And if that wasn't bad enough, managed to piss off a coterie member who, if ever given the green light, will probably have me dead in a matter of half an hour. So I gotta keep my head down. I need to learn to be an independent operator. Because what I'll do for everybody else, I can't rely on anyone else to do. But, say what you will. Greedy, short-sighted, egotistical, yeah, fabulous, certainly. At the end of it, can't say I'm a screw-up.
Far from.
Now, as for you, Aaron, is there anything else you actually need that I can provide for? I know that it's a really short list, and most people don't make it a habit of getting in favors with me, so I'm not going to force you to start. But if there's something that you want or something you need to understand, I will gladly lay it out, because you already told me something I didn't know.
Can't say I know anything off the top of my head. Really.
Oh well. Tried.
I just have work to do tonight. And that work is, quite frankly, keeping Tenebris off Mr. Resner's property. Apartments. That, and whoever the hell else happens to be stalking them.
There's a certain caitiff in the apartment building you might want to end up wondering about. Has a tendency to feel like he's got a little bit more flex, so he wanted to end up putting it on the newbie. Personally, I wouldn't normally care, except we can't have too many people rattling the boat. So if you're that gung-ho about it, hey, might as well put that skill set to use. Keep an eye out for things. Boss man already knows what I'm on about, so it shouldn't come as much of a surprise to him, but if you're actually interested in what the Blue Blood's doing, then hey, might as well make sure you're in the loop.
I
So
can
what are
go
your
see.
thoughts? Oh, go ahead.
I can go see about it.
If you want. I'm not forcing anybody to task. So what do you think of our perspective primogen? Just love the way that sounds. Prospective primogen.
I'm sorry, the what now? Yeah. Wait. He's like. He pauses, looks at the church, looks in the direction of the hospital for a second, and he's like, the hell you mean by that?
I mean, I'm giving you an inside track and seeing if you can play it smart. She is one of a handful of frontrunners that might be taking Telly's place.
He's
So,
being replaced. They're getting rid of that Primogen.
well, nothing formal yet. Might take some time. But we need to stay silent. We need to not attract, well, your kind, because you wouldn't have got here if somebody didn't screw up. You would have moved on to another city, kept your hunt going, and figured most of Dallas was as clear as it can be, and be an utter waste of resources to continue hunting. But no, we got your attention. That's our fuck up. And now you're dead, and other people are dead, and bodies racked up, and ditches got filled, and all that fun stuff. You know, the thing that I keep telling people we don't want? Yeah. So, when that happened again, guess whose watch it was? Now, do you think that they're going to end up treating this as though they paid for his education to figure out how to handle bullshit like this? Or do you think that they're going to find somebody who might be able to handle it a little bit better?
I would imagine they found someone to handle it better. I just didn't think it would be.
They need somebody that can kill without much reason, whose interest it is on keeping things quiet, who might have enough pull to keep the ripples out of the water. And now she's got the this backing of the newest acquisition from the Good Old Boys Club. So, congratulations. Power just ended up shifting in her favor just a little bit.
He cocks his head. Just analyzing Shake as he's taking in the information. He snaps a finger at him. You set that up, didn't you?
Wouldn't be much good to anybody if I couldn't.
It was your idea. Huh.
What was my idea? You meeting those two? No, that was just serendipitous. I just figured I'd look at what ends up coming out of two kindred with, well, Daddy Christ issues. Getting nailed to end up finding out what it is that they had in common, seeing if that could work. Seems like it does. Because it seems like it does, guess what? Balance of power shift. Not
True
a whole
enough.
lot. You're not a major hitter, but you do have capabilities, you do have knowledge, you do have insight, and you are particularly dangerous. So, we got the peacemaker on one hand, and we've got the warlord who doesn't want to be on the other. We're both working hand in hand. I say that makes for a very good pairing. A beautiful, simplistic carrot and stick relationship. That it's the kind of thing we need to end up keeping things nice and quiet. No ripples in the water, like I said.
You fit in as messenger bird, courier. What's her piece in it?
Is that your real question?
If you pitch the idea, you must have a piece. That's how it works, right?
What do I get out of it? Outside of the smug satisfaction that I had a small piece in the redesign of an entire domain. Maybe being on the inside track to the new power and regime that is coming up in this domain. The fact that I am developing a reputation as the guy who knows things and how to use and be on that same inside track. You have to change the way you see the world. The way I see the world is everybody's got a secret. Everybody's got a worry, concern. They all have it all together. And all I do is navigate one thing to another. And, well, if the situation happens to end up becoming more to my liking, then all the better. What do I get out of it? I get the fact that by the end of it, nobody will touch me. Nobody's going to reach out and try because they know that I'm really good in with the Primogen. They know I represent Clan Nosferatu, who I might remind you is the clan that currently holds this city. Our dearly beloved prince shares a clan with me. I am the representative as such. I am able to bend the rules. I can't break them, nor do I have any interest in it. I like the rules. The rules make sense. The rules give me a way to end up navigating this whole shit show. But I know how to use them. I know how people think. I know how they want. And I know what they're going to do. So if I know how to navigate all that, what do I need titles for? When everybody dances the way I directed. The real question everybody should be asking is, does Shriek have their best interest at heart? And of course, Shriek will say yes. But can you trust that? Well, no. But does that make him a liar? Well, not necessarily. It's a wonderful bit of complication that keeps people a little bit worried. And if you're just that little bit worried, it means you're not going to do something stupid because you don't know what the hell's going to happen. Because I made sure that if I decide to fall, this entire house of cards suddenly comes down on your head. You're going to do it because you are going to end up sticking to some degree of Judeo-Christian morality that ends up placing the concept of justice. You're also going to want to end up maintaining a Primogen who is of faith, trying to bring together the masses such as they can. You're going to do it because you're going to end up feeling a crisis of conscience if you don't, because for all my faults as a misbegotten sinner, you're not going to end up letting everything go to shit because you already know how bad it gets and you don't want to travel down that route again. You don't want anybody else to travel down that route again. So you're going to use that bit of brute force to prevent it. You're going to hate doing it. You're going to lament how it's going to come to that way. You're going to scrape and claw to not do it until the moment comes. And then you're going to do it. She's going to end up offering soothing balm. She's got a little bit of face paint going on. Whole new Primogen and one who is more of a pacifist, trying to calm tempers. That's great. Meanwhile, I also end up having a Tremere who is very well connected, who is able to end up coming in and out, able to end up not only making a place of business, but also ends up having spells and incantations and abilities that most people can't fathom, nor are they able to track, which ends up making me feel pretty safe because I can stay on the inside track on that one. So now you got that to contend with. What else do you have to contend with? Oh, right. I am also the one who tells the law what's happening. Bit of a snitch, if you will. Which means you got to be very careful because you can't trust that I'm not always in the fucking room. Paranoia makes it so that people don't tend to step out of line. Makes it easier on the sheriff, and then makes it easier on the hound. The hound then wants me to stick around, so coming after me means you came after the one person who actually keeps him on the inside track, which serves as a failing for you upholding the Camarilla's interests in the domain, which means now the Camarilla law comes on your head. And do I even need to start explaining on how it is that I have media in my pocket, politicians in my pocket? Do I have to end up going into all the little routes that I can end up twisting the kind into? The ways that I can end up influencing police and gangbangers? The fact that the homeless are as much of a spy network for me as they are a food source? Or how about the fact that every goddamn squirrel that we just drove by right now is an eyewitness to what I end up doing and are currently here watching things out for me? There is nothing that goes on in this city that, in this little neck of the woods, that I don't know about. It's all set up. It's not a concrete foundation because our existence doesn't allow that. For paranoia, a house of cards that can come down at any moment, and everybody has an interest in keeping that house of cards standing, willing to kill for it. And knowing that I'm that little card at the bottom that you can't pull out without things going really badly. No one's going to reward you for taking Shriek out. No, quite the opposite. They'll come down on you like a ton of bricks. That's what I get out of it, Mr. Winters. As everybody sees the flamboyant cocksucker, nobody sees me.
All right then. But right now, you're vulnerable. That's what I just heard.
If you think so, but then you have to ask yourself, why is he telling me this? What
There's
else does he
already
have
a
to say?
few points in which I'm sure you already got lined up against me.
So why be against me? Well, you could be my friend. I'm not asking you to pull your pants down.
I never said I was against you.
Bless me.
It's more of a cautiousness. Professional cautiousness. But
Paranoia is my greatest ally.
I suppose that's true.
I think it's about time you head home right now, Mr. Winters. Sleep on the sermon the good sister gave you. Have a prayer. Pray for all our souls if you have to. Whatever makes you feel good at night. Me, it was. But, that's just me.
I still got work tonight. Gotta make a few rounds.
Anything fun?
Apartments and there was kind of that instance there with Mr. Tenebris. Now, I know what Mr. Resner Gundon has said, but quite frankly, I don't trust the man as far as I can throw him, and I'm pretty sure I can't throw him that far. The man's built like a brick house.
He is. You know what else he is? Very, very fragile, quick to anger, very short-tempered. Not in full control of himself.
Oh, damn good thing I'm good at tracking from a distance.
You get in close, you use fire. It's a coin toss. But if I had to bet, he breaks first. That monster inside doesn't like fire. Neither does yours, but I think you might have a better handle on it. If you got a better handle on it, you got a way that he can't get close. I'm saying this because I want you to come out on top.
I feel mighty honored that you're betting on me.
House of Cards. House of Cards. Well, might as well let me off here then. I can end up making my way from the rest. After all, I had other people I gotta end up here keeping an eye on. And bluntly, all Bible study I find is fucking boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree on it. You know, it involves anything other than yourself.
Well, everything that goes on here has something to do with me. You take care of yourself now. And with that, once the truck pulls over, he'll step out. After all, would hate to end up keeping Mr. Winters from his scheduled appointments.
Indeed. It's a shriek. Where does that mean you're going?
Well, if I recall, we're pretty close to the ending of the night, so
Pretty close.
I'm probably going to end up just catching up with what ended up happening to with Madame, who was doing some driving earlier on at my behest.
Yes.
But nothing I imagine a scene's going to require, but enough to get me informed.
And who is she driving around? I don't remember. Offhand.
If I recall, they were supposed to end up checking in. Oh God! Guess we're at Dorian's. Wow, my brain's blanking. I'm sorry. My
Was it
brain's
the
blanking.
Blood bank. Blood bank.
Blood bank. Right.
I don't recall what
Looking
that
in
was
on
going to
that.
lead to, but Sheldon.
No, it's okay. It's just a thread, something to use if you need it. All right.
So, Aaron, where are you headed?
So he's gonna go to the apartments and do a quick look around there, and then also peruse the domain, the Arlington domain, and keep a general eye on Kane, Tenebris, and his movements. But he's gonna be tracking Kane from a distance. The important part, I don't really know if the Cative thing is necessarily something Aaron is too particularly worried about. He's just thinking of that like that's the hierarchical issue that isn't really on my part.
Okay, so if you're looking to make sure that Kane isn't up to any funny business, go ahead and make me a resolve and Resolve and survival. And
can
Lane.
Can I do investigation?
Are you trying to track him down from where he's been, or are you trying to track him down actively and tail him? That's my question.
From where he's been. What Aaron is doing right now is he's trying to triangulate Kane's position.
Okay.
But to do that, he has to go to places that Kane has been.
In the domain. Okay.
And the goal is to try and, triangulate his position and get an idea of where he's headed before Kane gets there.
Okay. Yeah, then investigation will work in this case.
Yes! This is what Aaron's good at.
Resolve an investigation and add Lane.
Yeah! How much is our lane? Is it 1?
That's a very good question.
I don't have to add it anywhere.
Let me see. Lane is in fact 1, yes.
Cool.
This
okay.
is info on your domain.
What we at? What's that?
That's 2.
It's just 2. I would like to re-roll 3 of those dice.
Or you could succeed at a cost.
I would like to keep the willpower. What's the cost?
The cost being... You will you will find him in the midst of something. However, it would mean someone important is injured. Possibly torpor.
Someone important.
So, you'll find him in the midst of something rather minor, but something else is going on somewhere else that someone else gets injured.
Holy shit. Okay. I like chaos. Let's do it. All right. Before Aaron even goes to the location that he's determined to find, he will pick up the shotgun. He took Shriek's warning to heart with that.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I forgot to ask is because I did reach my desire last session, would that have recovered a willpower?
Yes, it would have.
Oh, thank God I'm working on full willpower. Okay. Let's go! Let's go!
Let's go!
Right. Let's go! Okay, shotgun.
Okay.
I'm taking it.
You're taking the cost?
I'm taking the cost.
Okay.
I like chaos.
You like chaos.
I like a little chaos.
It is kind of late into the evening in the Arlington domain. It is getting rather close to when you should be packing up and heading home. This way the light doesn't catch you on your ass as you're walking in the door. That's when you find him. Tenebris. In an alleyway. Kind of hovering over something, someone, in the midst of a parking lot.
I don't like that.
If the man had to breathe, you would almost guess he's heavy of breath, but maybe he's just imitating the motions of such. It's dimly lit. The overhead lamps amongst the parking lot and the street have all but gone out. Only really the moonlight above you to give you any sense of light. And maybe it's more the light pollution of the city than it is the moon.
I only have Shadow Cloak. I was about to say, I have the spooky eyes that let me see in the dark. I don't. Wrong Oblivion power. Continue.
What do? You see him from a distance while you have the protection of your truck still.
Oh, we're up. Reach into the duffel bag in the back. Pull out the pistol. Pull out the shotgun. Gonna keep it underneath. Quite frankly, my duds at this point, because I ain't exactly got a jacket no more. I'm gonna go ahead and gonna use my sneaky shadow skill, shadow cloak, and get closer to the alley, and trying to stealth my way into position.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a dexterity, stealth, and add your shadow cloak ability.
Wonderful. Dexterity, stealth, and shadow cloak adds a +2. Let's hit it. Wow, that's garbage. You know what? It's fine if I get seen. So, if you can fight against that, if you can attest.
Well, let's find out.
Oh, look at that.
Meets it beats.
Is he? I guess he's the attacker, huh?
He is the aggressor in this case.
Yeah, cool.
You hear an almost growling sort of smile come from him as his back is turned to you. And when you get closer, you do see that there are 2 bodies beneath him.
2?
2.
Do I see who they are? What they are?
One of which is a rather deformed individual. One that looks like he would have a hunch if he were to stand upright. But he is crumpled in a pile of blood. And the same for a woman. Looks like she had a sword in her hand and barely is even scratched, Mr. Tenebris. He seems rather unfazed by the whole thing. Perhaps he had the advantage in the dark. Is it your turn now?
Well, that depends. You out to kill and cause blood? Or are you just playing around?
Blood, maybe. What do you think, Mr. Winters? You think I'm out for blood?
I think there are certain traditions that need upheld.
I have broken no traditions. Here, Mr. Tenebris, I don't see dust.
This is true.
What I see is an individual who broke a tradition himself, and a coterie mate who got herself involved in a rather bloody situation. So, how is my business any of your business?
So I don't know if you necessarily got any permissions on this.
I did. What is it to you?
What it is to me is that this is the sheriff's business.
And yet a scourge apprentice was called.
An apprentice, yes. Not the scourge themselves.
Well, see, your little friend has made it a little bit, aggravating for Cynthia. To even step foot in this domain anymore. So
that does not necessarily give you that divine right, sir.
I, again, haven't done no killing.
Good. You can be on your merry way.
Not before I take them.
No, I don't
See,
think
my
so.
business isn't done yet, Mr. Winters.
If you are a Scourge's apprentice, you consider your business to be the dusting. And I consider that business to be not within your right.
By
Stay
whose
here.
authority?
I'd be more than happy to call Mr. I'd be more than happy to get Mr. Singleton to bring in the sheriff. How many folks you want brought in?
And I'll explain it to him, too. Just like I did you.
Fantastic. So if you got the time, let's go ahead and make the dime, shall we?
But you see, it's getting late, my friend. And I'm taking these two with me.
No, you're not.
You don't have any authority here, kid.
Neither do you.
I have more authority than
apprentice.
you do. Certainly, you're not going to get in the way of my business.
I'd be more than happy to bring it up. With the sheriff, with the hound. And we can have that conversation with them. But you don't get to go off and be kidnapping other folk from their home.
He picks up their two bodies. Starts walking
Mr.
towards his vehicle.
Tenebris. Kane's gonna hold out the shotgun and he's gonna hold it to them. He's gonna point it at him. Mr. Tenebris.
Yes. What crime have I committed?
You are overstepping the bounds of your authority is what you're doing.
Who said it? I don't see nobody who's authority here. Do you?
That sounds like anarch talk.
Because all I see is
You and
me
Anarch?
and you and these two.
You don't think that's a problem?
I don't think it's any of your business. He starts to walk some more.
Coffee,
Mm-hmm.
from Aaron's knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
is there any actual authority behind being mauled by the Scourge?
Based on what Winters would know of the hierarchy of the hierarchy of the Camarilla,
Mhm.
officially, no. Unofficially, if you want to pick a fight with the Scourge, you may.
He's done worse. Give me a second. I want to look at the traditions.
Sure.
Because I feel like this is messing with something.
He hasn't been
Hardest part of
officially
the
he
game.
hasn't been officially removed as a coterie mate of this domain. He hasn't really. So in that case, he hasn't really overstepped his boundaries when it comes to domain, and he hasn't killed them. Or so he says.
Yet. Oh, God.
So technically he's right, and that could be the wiggle room that he's looking for, really.
In this particular instance, I need an idea for wiggle room in order to tell him no.
An idea
Am I
for
willing-
Aaron. Okay.
I could pick a fight with him outright, but that doesn't put me in any rider other than because I says so.
Because you says so. Yep. That is exactly right. And he's right. You could call the sheriff and see about litigating this whole thing, but that could also take a day because it is very, very late in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, do I fucking shoot his leg off or not? That's what I'm asking.
so I suppose this is more of a moral question for Aaron.
Oh, God.
Technically, Kane is in the right. Technically. Does Aaron base his judgments on technicalities? That's the question here, I think. Because if you don't kill Kane, you haven't done anything wrong either.
He doesn't base his judgment on technicalities. That's the thing. The way Aaron operates is very much, I only can work off of what I have seen.
Mm-hmm. And all you know is rumors that Fernando may or may not have severely injured and or killed a couple of Thin Bloods that Kane was particularly fond of. According to Kane, Colette was defending her coterie mate and ended up torpid in the process. Because they both look pretty maimed and they both look pretty bloody.
Alright, I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Mr. Tenebris, you put the lady down. I don't give a rat's ass what your beef is with. What your beef with the nose is, but quite frankly, quite honestly, you don't get to take the lady. I will be calling the sheriff about the nose. But you are working off a rumor. And if you're wrong, You better be praying. Praying to whatever dark thing you do. But the sheriff has a little mercy in his heart for you. And I'll go ahead and use an intimidation coercion.
Okay.
I
Make
have
me
coercion as...
Yep. Make me a
I have-
charisma intimidation and then. And he's kind of
Charisma-
intimidating you back, so.
Charisma, intimidation. Do I get any bonuses for literally pointing a sawed-off shotgun at him?
That's where your specialty will come in for sure.
Okay. So just a +1.
Because he's he's staring down the barrel of a shotgun, but he's also staring you down. So
Yeah.
he's got a specialty in that.
Okay, damn it. Shadow Cloak only has bonus intimidation to mortals.
That is true.
Please don't roll like shit. You said charisma?
Yep, charisma.
I want to blood search.
Do it.
Am I hungrier?
Wow.
I'm not hungrier.
Wow.
Charisma, intimidation. That makes +3.
Ooh.
I'm spookier.
You spooky. You spooky.
I'm spookier. Ugh!
Well,
Feel different. Okay.
he is going to spend a willpower to try and mitigate some of that.
Cool. If he ends up higher than me, then I will also.
Oh, well, he has now a crit on 5.
5. I only need 1 success. I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll my 2 and hope for the best.
Okay. Oh. Well, that's a messy crit on 8 for you.
Oh, I know precisely how this is gonna work.
Okay.
I think.
Tell me how you want to do
God.
this.
Aaron is gonna fire the shotgun. The bullet flings directly past Kane's head, just barely grazing his hair. And you can feel the wind rush past him as it flies into the night sky. The gunfire rings out across the entirety of the neighborhood, and car alarms start going off. Attention is drawn. Now the problem is the masquerade. And Aaron will repeat. Drop the girl.
You better be careful where you fire that thing.
I know precisely where the hell I'm firing, Tenebris. And I don't miss. You make me fucking pull this trigger again, I can guarantee it will not miss. Wherever I am. Put the girl down. Be on your goddamn way.
And because that's a messy crit.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wouldn't you love to wring his fucking thick neck right now? You want to harm him. Or maybe even her. No, him.
It's just gonna keep that in. It's just gonna keep that in his brain, in the far back of his brain, and he's not gonna think about that right now.
Until you actually harm someone or something someone is fond of, you are at a -2 penalty for all future rolls. But he drops her. Like a sack of bricks, like a sack of potatoes. She flops onto the ground, almost broken in pieces. Held together by what little skin she has left at the moment. After doing so, he continues to walk away, with Fernando in hand, leaving her and you in this alleyway, in this small parking lot, now possibly with the rest of the neighborhood staring daggers at you from afar.
Fantastic. I'm gonna drop any sense of oblivion. I'm just gonna go on over, pick up the girl, bring her into my truck, put her in the passenger seat, seatbelt her up. There isn't even a lick of question or doubt in my mind about where I need to go. I'm gonna bring myself straight to Singleton's.
With this very few minutes to get yourself back to your haven and find shelter?
No, son of a bitch. Alright, back to my haven.
You take her back to yours.
God fucking damn it. I arrive. I make sure to put her in the little wall hole that I usually cradle myself up in. No, actually, slash that. There's a bed downstairs. I put her on the bed downstairs because I'm a little more of a gentleman than that. I'm sorry, Alex.
The one where Alex usually sleeps.
I'm sorry,
at the
Alex.
moment.
All right, and just as dawn is approaching, right before dawn does, Aaron goes back out to the vehicle. He pulls his duffel bag out from the back of it. Make sure to slam the door shut. When it does, he does it with so much force that the window cracks. He just fuck. He turns around and just using every ounce of his prowess, just just like physically demolitions his own truck until it is nothing but a crumpled little heap.
Okay.
He's had that thing for years.
He has.
And it's lasted him the entirety of his embrace. It's a shit vehicle, but it was the one he used to ride in with his paw.
Another memory of the Winters family, now reduced to a smoldering heap. How much more of yourself are you erasing, Winters? How much more are you erasing of your history just to try and forget?
It ain't even about forgetting right now.
Isn't it?
I know what I want to hold on to, and it's every ounce of dignity and respect and humanity that I have left in me. What I want to fucking erase is any fucking association to that stain tenebrous. I want them erased off of this goddamn earth.
For the briefest of moments, you and those impulsive, instinctive thoughts of yours are one and agree. Which I think is a great place for us to take a quick break. We'll come back and see what Alex has been up to for these last few hours of this particular night, and find out what happens next for our coterie. Be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. While Shriek and Aaron spent some time at a church, and then going their separate ways briefly, while the night wraps up for them, Alex, in these last few hours of the night, needs to go out and have a snack. And by snack means a bag of blood, which can be rather difficult to find in this domain sometimes. So, go ahead and make your hunting roll. Let's see how many, if any, bags you find tonight.
Alright, adding my modifier for my contact.
Ooh,
Ugh.
yikers.
I would like to willpower that.
Or you could succeed at a cost.
I think we've had enough costs tonight.
Your loss.
Nice!
That's 4.
Oh, thank Christ.
High or low?
You know what? I'm gonna say low. It's gonna be high. I know it.
Yep. You get 1 dot of hunger slaked.
Okay. You know what? That's better than nothing. That brings me from a 3 to a 2, so I'm happy.
Yep. A little more manageable, Alex. You slake your hunger, hiding yourself away in some back alley or dark corner or something to that effect, as you sip on the very bland and preserved and just disgusting cold very chemical blood that you're sipping on now.
Well, it's better than directly consuming a person.
Consuming blood straight from the vessel, though, has all of the tasty bits. All of the things that add flavor. This is nothing. It may fill the belly, but it's about as savory as a plain bowl of noodles in soup with no flavor at all.
Just the noodles and hot water.
Noodles and hot water.
Noodle tea.
Yes. That's about as savory as this gets. Even has that little bit of preservative taste that you remember from cup noodles.
Well, at least I didn't spill it all over myself this time.
No. Thankfully, it was all in the bag until you sucked it out. But it was just the one tonight. Like we said, a snack before going on to other business. Spending about an hour procuring this thing. Spending the cash to buy it from God knows where.
Aaron tasted a lot better.
He did. In fact, that was probably the sweetest honey, the most delectable syrup that you have ever tasted from an individual. Very dark, but also very savory at the same time. You could go for another drink of that. No question. You would drink anything that he had to offer you right now.
I would, and that's a problem. Because I'm not quite sure if that is hunger talking, the blood bond talking,
Or you.
or something else.
Maybe it's a combination of all of these instinctual thoughts, Alex.
Once she finishes her bag, she makes her way back to the car, and she's going to climb back in and make her way for the chantry.
Comparatively, the bag makes you want to gag at this point. You've tasted better now.
Yes, better is certainly a word for it.
Your mind wanders, maybe. Maybe that little bit of hunger left in you. Maybe wanders and maybe wonders what Balthasar tastes like.
Now that is a dangerous.
Indeed. But that is the beast, the dangerous thoughts. You make your way, driving towards downtown Dallas, spending some time on the road to get there. You figure at this point in the night that there might be camping at the chantry yourself for the daytime for lack of time to drive back, should your conversation go longer than anticipated. Not that the chantry would throw you out to the sun for borrowing a bed, but you would have to ask.
And I have a feeling with the thoughts that I have in mind right now, it very well may be a long conversation.
You go to the chantry. You open a door, which looks like the back door of some random shopping center. Some random building that is found downtown that may or may not have been a shop at one point. But when you open the door to the real location, you find that it is an opulent library you walk yourself into. The entryway you are very familiar with, the one which you've met Balthasar in many times. The front library of the chantry. The open knowledge to all Tremere in this vicinity. The secret stashes are stored elsewhere behind magic doors you have no access to.
No access to yet.
Yet being the key word. As I believe you came with the intention, and Balthasar is in the room, of informing him of your decision regarding promotion. He's there, sitting in one of the very comfortable chairs in this library, reading a book that he's pulled from the stacks. Something old, looks like. Maybe classic literature.
Quite a lot of the books in these stacks are old. Certainly, some of them are older than the libraries in Brisbane. Although the age of some of those books are not to be scoffed at.
Then again, the chantry of Brisbane is no longer on the surface world, it is underground. Maybe some of those books were lost to the wind as a result.
Perhaps. She makes her way over. Kind of taking a seat across.
There's a coffee table between you. He looks up from the book. My darling Alexandra.
Balthazar.
I did not expect to see you so soon. I expected you to be gallivanting off somewhere.
I took the time to think.
Didn't seem to take much time at all. A single day.
Single day.
He closes the book and sets it in his lap.
Regarding the discussion that we had last evening, to rise within the rank in the chantry here,
Mm-mm.
what would that do exactly?
What would it do exactly? It would mean that you are committed to 5 or more years remaining here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It would mean that your studies would increase to include various things of Tremere design, such as some of the blood sorcery rituals that you may not have access to at the moment. And knowledge beyond your wildest dreams would be at your fingertips as you continue to grow.
And what would it mean for my relations with the kindred that I have come to know?
Well, a lot of your time would be spent here at the Chantry in study. I would say that your time outside the Chantry walls would be limited.
I had a thought regarding that. We have quite a rare opportunity on our hand regarding La Sombra.
Indeed. An opportunity to study their rituals firsthand.
Not just their rituals. The La Sombra have been, and it has reached even the ears of those in Brisbane, have been slowly taking position of our own. Various places amongst the Ivory Tower.
Yes, they have been in recent years added back to the ranks of the Camarilla, and thus have been a strong ally to the tower.
But not so much the Tremere.
I wouldn't say that I personally have any strong inclinations toward any of the La Sombra of the Dallas area. They are simply kindred.
Does the
Fascinating.
rest of our... Fascinating?
As subjects of study. but
Do the
sometimes can be rather domineering in personality, depending on the individual.
as I have unfortunately learned firsthand.
Yes, I'm quite aware of some of the La Sombra of this domain and their reputations.
Now I have to ask, which reputations are you speaking of?
Well, specifically of that of Mr. Tenebris, as he is the newest addition to the Scourge's playthings.
Hmm.
How that relationship will continue beyond its first year, I am keen to find out.
Knowing Mr. Tenebris, I would say he is not long for remaining amongst.
Yes, well, unfortunate, really. As from my understanding from Mr. Blackwell, is that he was a very promising and strong individual, that perhaps matters of domain simply got out of hand and caused a distinct mark to be left on him.
That's what they think.
Well, that is according to Mr.
Unfortunate.
Blackwell, who is also a biased individual towards the man. One would
Only
not
the truth
besmirch
were
their
so simple.
childer. Just as a childer should not besmirch their sire.
Indeed. I was considering. I have a rather amicable relationship with Mr. Winters.
Indeed, he seems to be very fond of you.
I believe it would be beneficial to maintain that relationship even after I have risen within the Chantry.
Hmm. That might be a bit tricky. As typically one's focus must be on their studies during the transition period from a first level as such as yourself to a second level.
My focus on my studies, I don't believe, would be hindered.
Are you certain of that?
I am.
Given that I have instructed you to blood bond to him, you do not feel that the blood bond would distract you? That you have the will to overcome it?
I'm certain I have the will to overcome. My goals, my means, and my ends all ally with Dramir, above all else. Mr. Winters, I believe, would be a great ally in assisting our clan. Keeping in mind, too, that Mr. Winters was once a hunter.
A hunter, you say?
Hmm.
Of animals? They run aplenty here in Texas.
of werewolves, of kindred, and of other supernatural beasts.
It's starting to make sense now. I had heard rumor that he was very well versed in some of the arts of hunting, but I didn't ever consider that he might be an actual supernatural hunter himself.
Winter's family name is a dead giveaway.
It is also a common word.
It is. And unfortunately, I have had run-in with at least one of his family members in the past.
I'm sure he does not take too kindly to that.
He is aware of it. And yet our relationship seems to remain amicable.
Are you certain he would not drag you down as a result? Not able to keep up with you?
So far, he has matched my every step, sometimes even exceeding it. He has functioned, so far, as an incredible ally.
Given his past, however, as you've mentioned, I worry that that past will rise back up in him. As I'm sure is the nature of the concern our prince would have with such an individual.
And yet, with the correct guidance, he may come to find himself more agreeable to our company.
At the present, possibly.
Perhaps in the future too.
How would you want to maintain that relationship? Ideally, let's say.
Assuming that we both survive the next few years, I would very much like to take him with me when I depart.
Your departure is not presently imminent.
No. But it will happen eventually. As such, I would need to maintain the relationship I currently have with him. And when I do return to Brisbane, I should very much like to take him with me. Which would mean that he would need to stay safe.
Are you asking for the protection of the Chantry regarding this man?
Possibly.
If that's so, he must mean a great deal to you. A great deal more than you would let on. A coterie mate, yes. Companion. Possibly.
Useful. Definitely.
I worry the blood bond has you smitten.
I was considering this before the blood bond was made.
And what would you offer for this kind of protection. The kind you are asking for.
Out of character, I have no idea. Shit. I have no idea what to offer here. Just out of character.
Well, you've already told him that you're going to teach him all of the Tremere ritual, or the ceremonies that Aaron ended up learning, along with perhaps offering up Aaron as a test subject. Because if you're going to be locked away for 5+ years, do you really want to do that alone? Would you want him to go through the kinds of testing that you know goes on here at this chantry?
No. Throughout my time here, I've done a good deal of research concerning the kindred of the Arlington domain. I've gotten to know quite a lot of them quite well.
And your knowledge is invaluable to this chantry.
Indeed. I've also gotten to know quite a bit about the workings of Second Inquisition that have attacked.
What do you offer of equal value?
What I have learned. And what I will continue to learn.
You are essentially asking the chantry to guarantee the existence of an individual beyond sometimes our prince's decree. Should something come up that we would need to protect him politically from. Does he mean that much to you? To defy our prince in some cases.
Perhaps.
We'll start with a summary of your knowledge. If the exacting details are to the specificity that you have indicated, then it will be considered. But if the details of such knowledge would not be enough, then you must offer something else.
Of course.
So give me the elevator pitch.
She would start to go through, because I am not going to spend hours going through all of this.
He said elevator pitch, which usually means a 2-minute summary.
Yeah. So she would basically go through everything that she learned within the first few nights of being in the city. Things about Shriek and his curse only allowing him to be in a room for less than 5 minutes without insects coming everywhere. Stuff about who is where in the Arlington domain. What she learned about the way that the kindred all interact within the Arlington domain and how disparate they were when they first arrived. She would go through every detail that she could remember. Sorry, I'm just looking back through my notes real quick. So much stuff that happened in those first few months. She would also go through Cain's decline in humanity. Every little step and change that happened.
Which does pique his interest slightly, but not to the degree that you maybe hoped.
My notes are so disparate.
Roll me a wits insight.
Wits insight, okay.
Let's see if you can read what it is he's kind of poking and prodding at you that he wants.
Oh my god!
Are you satisfied with that roll?
Willpower.
There's always succeed at a cost.
Don't like that. That'll do.
3. Balthazar has always been a little tough to read in some cases. Sometimes he's very guarded. Other times he is very much open. He is somewhat in between right now. He wants you to pick up on something, but he doesn't want to tell you outright. He wants you to guess educatedly at what he wants. He wants that from you. He wants you to flex your muscles as to what you've learned about him and about what he's aiming for. He is aiming to learn more about the La Sombra. That much he's already made clear to you. So what about the La Sombra fascinates this man? You've already indicated that you would let him in on any of the nuances that come with some of the La Sombra ceremonies. So out of all of that, what does he want? What do you think he wants?
When she sees that little witch, I'm going to call it, she's going to stay on the subject of pain. Talks about how she remembers Kane's relationship with Thin Blood. How some people avoided him and found him rather overbearing and domineering. She goes through that one time when they were speaking with Gerard, where they came across a black panel van with a longer antenna than usual. It was lacking a front license plate. And the fact that that one person that they did meet, who made the mistake of throwing a blade at Kane, disappeared, leaving nothing but their uniform and equipment behind.
That is fascinating. As we here in the Chantry do not have such abilities.
Indeed.
Do you think this is the power of Oblivion itself, or a ceremony? What is your take on it, Alex?
Alex wouldn't actually know. So,
well, let's
she might.
Let's see if she can have any insight on it. Let's make that an intelligence occult.
Intelligence. Oh, I'm good at intelligence occult. I could do that.
Now, you were there when he performed this, correct?
Wait.
Or the aftermath?
She didn't directly see it, but she knew it happened. And she held the equipment in her hands after it had happened. Because I remember she saw his back and him over the equipment on the ground.
Okay. That is a very toasty number right there. That is a crit with 9.
I'm just looking. I have a blood magic occult skill. That wouldn't add to it, would it?
For the purposes of this roll, I'll allow it.
Oh. Okay.
It's not technically blood magic, but it's vampire magic, so maybe.
Do a willpower roll for that. No.
No. But you do crit on 9. Thinking back on it, you kind of settle yourself into your seat for a moment, kind of deep in thought. You have a very strong memory. And if memory serves you correctly, the order of events that night is, yes, in the aftermath, in the moment, you were more or less shocked at the sight of, there was once a human here, and now there is just a uniform. But you remember feeling the fabric, feeling the machinery, feeling the instruments that this person was carrying on their person. You remember a very distinct texture. Very fine dust. Ash, maybe? Thinking about it more, you know, yes, that is the texture of ash. You know that's the texture of ash because you, over the course of your existence, have accidentally burnt yourself a couple of times with the flash of some of these rituals. You know what ash against your fingers feels like. And concentrating on that moment just before you walk up and touch the fabric and the instruments, you walk yourself back and rewind a little bit. You remember a murmuring. The slightest hint of blood on the air. You think, you're not certain, but you think with very acute certainty it was a ceremony. And you're fairly certain this wasn't the first time he'd ever performed it because it was precise.
It is my opinion that it may have been ceremony. As she's talking, she's kind of rubbing her fingers together as if she can still feel the ash from those clothing on her fingers.
It's a very vivid memory in your mind right now.
Is there any way that I might be able to figure out how to recreate that ceremony from the memory of what I saw?
You crit on a 9. You remember the words he uttered. You remember that there was the slight hint of blood, so perhaps some kind of blood rousing. You're not sure if sigils were used or not, as the person had turned to ash, so anything that was left was ash anyway. But you've guessed at sigils before. You've created your own, for your own rituals.
She's going to reach into her bag, pull out a pen and paper, and she's going to start jotting down exactly what she remembers and theorizes in the order that she believes that it would put the ritual together.
Okay. You're fairly certain with a couple of tries you might be able to nail it. You know the words. You know the components, because there wasn't anything else that was there. The rousing of blood and the uttering of some words, that's easy. That's easy compared to some Tremere rituals.
She's going to try it.
Okay. You do not currently have dots in Oblivion.
No, I do not.
So, this is going to be... Let me see what the roll on that spell would actually be. Because I don't recall the actual roll at the moment. Let me see, it's in... Is it in this book? It's in one of these books. One moment, please.
All good. I'm just waiting for this to go horribly wrong.
Where do I find Oblivion? Ceremonies and shit. It's in powers. I don't know. Hang on, I'm just gonna Google it. Okay. One moment. This is going to be a straight stamina roll.
Ooh,
And a rouse check.
okay. Love it. Okay. Rouse check first, yes?
Yep. It will apply to your roll after the roll has been made. Okay, it's a success on the rouse.
Stamina shit. It's gonna just straight up stamina, nothing else.
Straight up stamina, nothing else. We'll find out.
I mean, that was as good as it could get.
Let me see if that's enough here.
The dice want me to get this.
I found out what book it's in. Give me a sec. Let me see how many successes you would need to be successful. Where is it? Hang on. Hang on.
Giving you a head scratcher.
Horned, please. Guess. Sorry, I'm having
You're good, dude.
having a time because this is not a very well organized book. Hang on. Here we go.
What ceremony are you looking for?
Oh no, never mind. It's not a ceremony. It's just a power.
What power?
I am looking for...
Isn't it ashes to ashes?
It is, and I'm looking for the number of successes needed.
It's going to be 3. I know because I have it.
Ah, 3 it is then. You're not successful.
Damn.
But part of that might be that you're currently not in the presence of a corpse as well.
Oh, okay.
You feel it's not quite right. Not quite yet. Not enough. There's something else you're missing, and something that hasn't really quite sparked in you yet.
Here's the question, though. Can I feel the presence of that there?
Oh, yes. Because when you reach into that sort of thought process, your mind goes to Aaron. And just the sort of void that you tasted from his vitae.
She lets out this frustrated little groan and stamps her foot. Almost like a child throwing a tantrum. She's like, it's right there. I can feel it. I'm missing something.
I'm guessing it hasn't quite sparked for you yet, then. Give it time. You'll find the missing piece. Just continue as you have been.
I shall.
Learning something new does not come overnight. Literally.
Depends on the something new.
Indeed. Once it has manifested, we will be running lots of tests.
Yes. Sure you will.
Was there anything
All
more
right.
that you wanted to share with me?
Not at this moment. But please, take what I have asked into consideration.
Personally, Mr. Winter seems like an interesting man. If a little dull.
I can assure you he's anything but dull.
Ah, well. Perhaps his intellect is not in that which you can read, but more along the lines of the natural instinct of a man.
Indeed. There is plenty of potential. I can assure you that much. They say you can't fill a cup that is already full. His cup is half empty. There is plenty space to still fill it.
Interesting use of metaphors.
Alex is gonna turn to look at the time.
It's getting very late.
Is she gonna have enough time to make it back to either her haven or Aaron's?
Both of which are in the Arlington domain, so it's not like there would be terribly a whole lot of difference. Well, let's make a roll for it. High or low?
I'm gonna say high. It'll probably be low this time.
Oh, no, that's high.
Oh!
Strangely
cool.
enough, this conversation
Love it.
didn't take as long as you had thought. You have plenty of time to get home or to Aaron's. Your choice.
She is gonna go back to her own. Going to Aaron's right now might be a little bit risky.
Given how much your thoughts are sort of overwhelmed by him. Not to a major degree, but he's definitely on your mind a lot lately. More so than usual.
It's not something that she was not expecting. It's definitely something that she was expecting when she agreed to the Bloodborne.
You also realize that you talked about him a lot during that conversation. More so than you were ever talking about yourself.
Yes. Well, certainly unavoidable. But he is definitely a niggling piece in the back of my mind right now.
You may get back to your haven. Plenty of time to sleep for the morning. As the sun begins to rise on the city of Dallas once more, which I think is where we're going to call the session for tonight, and come back with a new night next time.
You keep making me laugh, Specs!
Specs' visceral reactions over here, let's be real.
I'm sorry.
The reaction wiggles are... They're great.
Wow.
See, Derek doesn't reaction wiggle. He just reaction,
I love seeing Mox in a complete panic.
Yeah,
how do I make this work?
1 second while my brain processes what I'm actually gonna do with this.
Yeah.
I'm over here in the back in the chat, like, sell him out, sell him out, sell Aaron out, sell Aaron out.
No, she won't sell Aaron out though. That's the thing.
She's a better. Alex is a better person than me.
We've got a Felix. Look at him.
She kind of sticks to those tenets of hers, right? Like,
Hi, Felix.
Look at this boy.
oh, kitty.
This boy. Goodbye. Okay, goodbye.
But also, she actually really likes Aaron too, so kind of wouldn't be a good thing to sell him out.
No, she only wants him under the protection of the Tremere.
Comments I could make right now. This is the worst part about playing Shriek, by the way. This, like, usually my brain will end up doing it as a zinger on the side. No. At this point, it's full on. It just
Full on
doesn't
wants to come
stop.
out of your mouth. Yep.
Love it.
Of course, it's on your mind. You can still taste them on the back half when going down.
Yup.
Haktua, as they say.
Bet on that thing.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on the comment that just came to mind.
Oh my god.
We can move right along. So, let's talk experience, everybody.
Before we do, I just want to confirm to the chat. Yes, this situation is as awkward as you can imagine for me at this given point. You have any idea on the fact that it ends up turning into this case of me having to end up sitting with these three, hearing about Huck 2 and going, I'm going to be polite. I'm going to be polite this one time.
But you don't want to be.
But you three make it really fucking difficult sometimes.
My cast, everyone. But yes, the poll is already live in the chat for you all to choose your favorite amongst our cast members. But I have some experience to dish out first, so everybody gets one for showing up. Congrats, you three.
Yeehaw.
Wow! So, let's talk about some roleplay prompts. We do things here, much like Derek does in his own streams, where we talk about who moved the plot, who had the best scene, and who had the best line from tonight. So, who's our plot mover?
I'm going to say Aaron.
Yeah, I'd say Aaron. Both sides of the break focused pretty much on Aaron, so I'm going to give it to Aaron.
Hey, let's go.
He's the talk of the town right now.
A little bit.
That's really weird.
Little bit. Talk of the town. I would tend to agree as the storyteller. So who had our best scene then?
Oh my god.
I kind of also want to give that to
I want to also give that to Aaron, strangely enough, because
it was the Kane situation. It was so clutch.
Yeah.
That save was so clutch.
It was so good.
That sounds like a unanimous Aaron right there.
I definitely have a strong attachment to definitely Alex is just going back and forth like, oh, what do I give? Oh my god, I want it, but I also don't want to like give everything away. Oh my god.
She's earned a little bit of something for in regards to protecting Aaron by divulging the brief so far. So who had our best line? Besides me.
I need someone else to have a nomination.
Aaron, you got the audience favorite. You're welcome.
God damn it! Holy shit!
You know what? Out of fucking spite, I'm giving it to Aaron.
Why? No!
Because I can steal it with the Whore of Babylon bit.
That sounds like Anarch talk.
That was good. That was good. That was the one that ended up earning it for me because it's an amazing callback.
From Aaron.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Take your pretty privilege and move on with it.
I just want to be controversial and say Whore of Babylon, but that's just me being
contrarian.
adversarial.
It's you being contrarian.
Yes.
There. I believe that is Specs' first full sweep in this. Yeah. No.
Clean
shit.
sweep.
Oh my
Spectre.
god.
Clean sweep, Spectre. You're welcome.
Oh god.
The next time I decide to upstage you, you can end up remembering this moment. Okay, he tried, and he's gonna come back. This is gonna come back to haunt me later, but maybe not this chronicle, maybe not the next, but it'll come back.
Oh my god. Thank you.
Well, with a clean sweep from Spectre Deflector in regards to experience tonight, and a lovely performance by my cast for their wonderful conversations and scenes from tonight's show. And yes, Derek has some lovely new emotes, so if you aren't subscribed to him, you should be, because he's got some awesome emotes right now. So
I just want every excuse to use those two.
Oh, I love it. I love them. I love those emotes so much. They're perfect pale. So, with that being said, we're going to find possibly somebody to raid tonight. And call that our evening. We will be back with more Blood and Iron next time. We only have possibly a few more episodes before the conclusion of this chronicle. In which case, after that, at the new year in 2025, we will be starting up Session 0 for Cyberpunk Red, which is going to be set only a few years prior to 2077. So that we have a fun cyberpunk chronicle going to be coming up. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I think that does it for all of us tonight. We'll be back next week with more Blood and Iron, and also on Saturday with more Rebirth. And you can check out both of those shows on YouTube, and all of our previous shows on YouTube as well. So you should be following there as well. Like, comment, subscribe, all of those things. And until next time, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
He's still on my mind.